Welcome back to Big Wisdom 2.0 Introduction to Microeconomics. Start ಮಾಡೋಣ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ವೆಬ್ ಡಿಸೈನಿಂಗ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾಳೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇಗನೆ ಆಯಿತು. ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. Introduction to Microeconomics. A simple economic. Think of any society. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, people in the society need many goods and services. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಗೆ many ಅಂದ್ರೆ goods ಬೇಕು in their everyday life. ಅಂದ್ರೆ every day life ಬೇಕು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ, including food ಕೂಡ, clothing ಕೂಡ, shelter, transport facilities like roads and railways, postal services, and various other services like that of teachers and doctors. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲಾತಿಂಗ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ ಲೈಫ್ ಬೇಕು, ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಫುಡ್, ಕ್ಲಾತಿಂಗ್, ಶೆಲ್ಟರ್, ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ರೂಟ್ಸ್, ರೈಲ್ವೇಸ್, ಪೋಸ್ಟಲ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್. In fact, the list of goods and services that any individual to needs is so larger that no individual in society to begin with has all the things she needs. Andre goods and services list ಬರುತ್ತದೆ, ಅದು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ large, no individual in society to begin with this. Every individual has some amount of only a few of the goods and services that she would like to use. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಎವ್ರಿ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಗೆ ಸಮ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ದ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ goods and services. A family farm may own a plant of land, some grains, farming implements, maybe a pair of blocks, and also the labor services of the family members. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಮೆಂಬರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸಮ್ ಗ್ರೇನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅದು ಏನೇನ್ ಬೇಕು, bullocks ಅದು, and also the labor services of the family, ಅಂದ್ರೆ labor services. A weaver may have some yarn, some cotton and other instruments required for the weaving cloth. ಅಂದ್ರೆ some yarn, cotton, ಅಂದ್ರೆ other instruments required for weaving clothing. So next is central problems of economic. Production, exchange, and consumption of goods and services are among the basic economic activities of life. In the course of this basic economic activities, every society has to face scarcity of resources, and it is the scarcity of resources that give rise to the problem of choice. The scarce resources of an economic have competing usages. In other words, every society has to decide on how to use its scarce resources. The problems of an economic are very often summarized as follows. So, these are central problems of an economic. The production possibility and point. Just individual face scarcity of resources. The resources of an economic as whole are always limited in comparison to what the people in the economic collectively want to have. The scarce resources have alternative usages, and every society has to decide on how much of each of the resources to use in the production of different goods and services. In other words, every society has to determine how to allocate its scarce resources to different goods and services. And allocation of the scarce resources of the economy gives rise to a particular combination of different goods and services. Given the total amount of resources, it is possible to allocate the resources in many different ways and thereby achieving different mix of all possible goods and services. The collection of possible combination of the goods and services it can be produced from a given amount of resources and given stock of a technological knowledge is called the production possibility and set of the economic. So is the production possibility point here on the organization of economic activity based basic problems can be solved either by the free interaction of the individual pursuing their own objectives as is done in the market or in a planned manner by some center authority like the government. Central planned economic ನಾನು explain ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. In a central planned economic, the government or the central authority plans all the important activities in the economic. All important decisions regarding production, exchange, and consumption of goods and services are made by the government. The central authority may try to achieve a particular allocation of resources and consider distribution of the final combination of goods and services which is thought to be desirable for society as a whole. For example, if it is found that goods or services which is very important for the prosperity and the well-being of the economic as whole, example, education or health service is not produced in adequate amount by the individual on their own, the government might try to induct the individual to produce adequate amount of such a good or service or a alternative government self self decided decide to produce the good or services in service in their production. The market economy. In contrast to a central planned economic, in a market economic, all economic activities are organized through the market. A market as studied in economics institution 6, which organize the free interaction of individual person in their respective economic activities. In other words, a market is a set of arrangements where economic agents can freely exchange their endowments or products with each other. It is important to know that the market as used in economics is quite different from the common sense understanding of a market. In particular, it has nothing as such to do with the marketplace as you might tend to think of. For buying and selling commodities, individuals may or may not meet each other in an actual physical location. Interaction between buyers, sellers can take place in a variety of situations, such as village shop or super bazaar in a city or alternative buyers and sellers can interact with each other through telephone or internet and conduct the exchange of commodities. The arrangement which allow people to buy and sell commodities really are defining features of the market. So this is market economics. Next, ಬಂದ್ರೆ positive and normative economics. It was mentioned earlier that in principle there are more than one ways of solving the central problems of an economy. This different in general are likely to give rise to different solutions to those problems, thereby resulting in different allocations of the resources and also different distribution of the final mix of goods and services produced in the economy. Therefore, it is important to understand which of these alternative mechanisms is more desirable for the economic as whole. In economics, we try to analyze the different mechanisms and figure out the outcomes which are likely to result under each of these mechanisms. We also try to relate the mechanism by studying how desired outcomes resulting from they are. Often a distinction is made between positive economics analysis and normative economics analysis, depending on whether we are trying to figure out how a particular mechanism functions or we are trying to evaluate in positive economics analysis. We study how the different mechanism functions, and in normative economics, we try to understand whether this mechanisms are desired or not. So positive and negative economics. So this is micro and macroeconomics. So not together. Plan of the book. Ignore. So ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಈ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಮುಗಿದ introduction to microeconomics, theory of consumer behavior, chapter 2, uh, chapter 2 theory of consumer behavior, and ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲ್. ಸೊ ಈಗಷ್ಟೇ ನಾನು ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 17 ವೆಬ್ ಡಿಸೈನಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಇದು ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1 ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಈಗ microeconomics. So next to chapter 2 theory of consumer behavior market. Theory of consumer behavior ಆಮೇಲೆ third chapter. ಸೊ ನಾಡಿದ್ದು ಥರ್ಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫೋರ್ತ್, ಅದು ನಾಡಿದ್ದು ಫಿಫ್ತ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಿಕ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮುಗಿಯುತ್ತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದಿನ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1 ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ರೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್. ಅದು ನಾಳೆ ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇದು ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ 6 ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದಿನ, ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಈಗ ಸೊ ನಾಳೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ವೆಡ್ನೆಸ್ಡೇ 2 ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. 20th ಓಕೆನಾ. 29 ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1 ಇವತ್ತು, ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 2 ಮತ್ತು 3 ನಾಳೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾಡಿದ್ದು 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, introduction to microeconomics, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So guys, 27th ಇವತ್ತು, ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ನಾಳೆ 2, 3 ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀನಿ, ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 2 ಮತ್ತೆ 3. 29th ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಥರ್ಸ್ಡೇ 4th 5th ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀನಿ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್. ಅದು 30th ದಿನ 5, 6 ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀನಿ ಫ್ರೈಡೇ ದಿನ. ಸ್ಯಾಟರ್ಡೇ ದಿನ ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀನಿ, ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1 ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಮೈಕ್ರೋಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್, ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1. 2, 3 ಸಂಡೇ, ಜುಲೈ 2nd ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀನಿ. 1st ಜುಲೈ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1. July 2nd chapter 2 and chapter 3. Okay. July 3rd Yeah, chapter 4 ಮತ್ತೆ chapter 5 ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. And lastly guys, ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಟ್ಯೂಸ್ಡೇ ಮುಗ್ದೋಗುತ್ತೆ. 4th July. 4th July is last topic of introduction on macroeconomics. So ಅದು ಮುಗಿಯೋದ್ ನಂತರ ಮುಗಿಯೋದ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು or I'll do English or accounts. So next to ನಾನು theory of consumer behavior ಜೊತೆ ಸಿಗ್ತೀನಿ chapter 2 ನಾಳೆ. And chapter 3 is, let me give me a second guys. I'm checking what is chapter 3. Yes. Yeah. It is production and cost. Chapter 2, theory of consumer behavior, and chapter 3 is production and cost. So see you on that two chapters tomorrow. Until then, see you. Goodbye.